The little girl was crying so quietly that Daniel Carter almost walked past her. It was rush hour at the old bus terminal, the kind of place where footsteps swallowed soft sounds and everyone's eyes stayed fixed on their own problems. Daniel was exhausted, his shoulders aching after a double shift at the warehouse, his mind already worrying about what he would make for dinner for his 6-year-old son. But something made him stop. Maybe it was the way the girl clutched a pink backpack too tightly for such small hands, or the way her tears slid down without a sound, as if she'd learned that crying loudly didn't help anymore. He crouched down in front of her. "Hey," he said gently. "Are you okay?" The girl shook her head. She had light brown curls escaping a crooked ponytail and wide green eyes filled with fear. "I can't find my mom," she whispered. I didn't mean to let go of her hand. Daniel felt his chest tighten. "What's your name?" "Emily," she said. "My mom's name is Grace." Daniel nodded, steady and calm, even though panic buzzed beneath his skin. He was a single dad. He knew this fear. He'd lived it himself the day his wife never came home from the hospital. He knew what it felt like to be suddenly alone in a world that didn't stop for your pain. "Okay, Emily," he said. "We'll find her. I promise you won't be alone." Emily looked up at him, searching his face for truth. Whatever she saw there made her nod. They sat on a metal bench while Daniel asked gentle questions. Grace was tall, Emily said, with long dark hair and a blue coat. They'd been shopping, and Emily had stopped to look at a toy stand. When she turned back, her mom was gone. Daniel called the terminal's help desk. "No missing child reports yet. Security said they'd keep an eye out." Minutes stretched into an hour. Emily's sobs came and went in waves, and each time Daniel offered her his water bottle or told her a story about his son, Noah, who loved dinosaurs and pancakes shaped like stars. "Do you think my mom is scared?" Emily asked softly. "Yes," Daniel said honestly. "But she's also looking for you. Just like we are." As time passed, Daniel felt the weight of his choice. He should have been home already. Noah would be waiting, probably sitting by the door like he always did. Daniel borrowed a phone from the help desk and called his neighbor, Mrs. Thompson, asking her to watch Noah a little longer. Guilt tugged at him, but he looked at Emily's trembling hands and knew he couldn't walk away. They searched the terminal together, hand in hand. Daniel's legs ached, his stomach growled, but Emily kept going, driven by hope and fear in equal measure. They checked restrooms, ticket counters, exits. No Grace. Emily's shoulders slumped. What if she left without me? Daniel stopped and knelt so they were eye level. Your mom wouldn't do that. Parents don't stop loving their kids. Ever. The words surprised him with their force. He realized he was saying them for himself as much as for Emily. 2 hours passed. The sky outside darkened. Emily grew quiet, her head leaning against Daniel's arm. He felt her trust like a fragile gift placed in his hands. Finally, near the far exit, Emily gasped. That's her. A woman stood near the doors, panic etched across her face as she spoke urgently to a security guard. Her hair was loose, her blue coat wrinkled, her eyes red from crying. Mom! Emily screamed. Grace turned, and the sound that left her throat was raw and broken. She ran, dropping her phone, dropping everything, and wrapped Emily in her arms so tightly it looked like she'd never let go again. They cried together, shaking, clinging, the world fading around them. Daniel stepped back, suddenly feeling like an intruder in a moment too sacred for words. Grace looked up at him, her eyes locking onto his. You, she said breathlessly. You found her. Daniel nodded. She was lost. I just stayed. Grace stood, still holding Emily's hand. Thank you, she said, her voice trembling. You have no idea what this means. Emily hugged Daniel's leg. He promised he wouldn't leave me, she said proudly. Grace's eyes filled again. Thank you for keeping that promise. They talked briefly. Grace apologized again and again. Daniel brushed it off, insisting anyone would have done the same. They exchanged names, and Grace asked for his number, just in case Emily wanted to say hello someday. Daniel finally headed home, running late, heart heavy but warm. When he opened his apartment door, Noah launched himself into his arms. "Daddy, you're late," Noah said. "I know," Daniel whispered, hugging him tight. "But I helped someone today." Weeks passed. Life returned to its familiar rhythm of work, school drop-offs, tired evenings, and quiet prayers whispered into the dark. Daniel didn't think much about Grace and Emily, assuming that moment was just a crossing of paths, nothing more. Then one afternoon, his phone rang. "Daniel Carter?" a woman asked. "Yes. This is Grace Miller." He froze. "Emily's mom?" "Yes," she said. "I was wondering, could we meet? I want to thank you properly." They met at a small cafe. Grace arrived dressed simply, her hair pulled back, Emily beside her, smiling brightly. Grace's gratitude was deep and sincere. As they talked, Daniel learned more about her. She was a business owner, recently returned to the city after years abroad. She spoke carefully, humbly, but there was a quiet authority about her. Emily chatted happily with Noah, who had come along, showing him dinosaur stickers. Then Grace took a breath. "Daniel, there's something you should know." She paused, choosing her words. "I'm the CEO of Miller Holdings." Daniel blinked. He knew the name. Everyone did. It was one of the largest companies in the country. Billion-dollar revenues. Headlines. Power. "I didn't tell you before," Grace said softly. "Because that day, none of that mattered. I was just a mother who lost her child." Daniel let out a slow breath. "It still doesn't matter," he said honestly. Grace smiled, a real one this time. "That's exactly why I wanted to meet you." She learned about his life then. About his wife, Sarah, who died giving birth to Noah. About the nights Daniel stayed up wondering if he was enough. About the warehouse job that barely paid the bills. Grace listened, not interrupting, her eyes gentle. "You didn't help Emily because you wanted something," she said. "You helped because you're who you are." Grace offered him help, connections, opportunities, but Daniel hesitated. Pride and fear tangled in his chest. "I don't want charity," he said quietly. Grace nodded. "Neither do I. I want partnership. I'm opening a new community outreach program. I need someone who understands people, who leads with heart. I think that someone is you." Daniel went home that night conflicted. He prayed like he hadn't in years. He thought about Noah's future, about being present instead of exhausted, about turning pain into purpose. He accepted. Months later, Daniel stood at the opening of a family support center funded by Miller Holdings. He watched Noah and Emily run across the lawn, laughing like they'd known each other forever. Grace stood beside him, no longer distant, no longer guarded. "You changed our lives," she said. Daniel shook his head. "We changed each other's." He realized then that miracles didn't always come as lightning or loud moments. Sometimes they came as a quiet decision not to walk past a crying child. Sometimes, helping someone find their way home leads you to a new one yourself. And sometimes, the greatest wealth in the world is simply choosing kindness when no one is watching.